Now, I have some updates which I will give you on the market. There are some new reports are out, new data is out, which you should know. We already saw last time, we discussed that investor from Ireland, correct? When you do not have the data, you will lose your clients.
How do you believe in
How?
my concern? Yesterday I was talking to one of the guys that is from a dot.
Stop talking.
Nikki Beach, yeah.
Yeah. So I was discussing with him that they are all the developers today. They're launching only residential in Rasa, and the demand in Dubai is between the tourism and residential because there are people who really staying in Dubai because of their business, because of the safety, because of their kids. But today in Ras Al Khaimah, it's only tourism, only because of this disease. Why all of these residential? There are a lot of hotels there like that. These residential, let's say 50% will be rented out in Airbnb. But the other 50%, are those people are buying to be an end user, to live in Ras Al Khaimah for long term? Is it going to be the city as Dubai that people with target to come and live in Ras Al Khaimah later on?
Okay. So the question is Ras Al Khaimah, right? So there is nothing really to attract as a lifestyle in Ras Al Khaimah besides the casino, which is not even going to be there for the next 2 years, correct? So why are we having a lot of these residential coming up there when people would not probably want to live there? Actually, that's not true, okay? If you look at the Cove was launched many years ago to give a very private, exclusive waterfront lifestyle, sold out and made an absolute killing on the appreciation. Waterfront, Ras Al Khaimah is now actually developing as a waterfront tourist destination. They have RAC-TDA, Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Development Authority, RAC-TDA. If you go to their website, they will show you the vision for Ras Al Khaimah going forward. Secondly, Ras Al Khaimah is now building the same relationship with Dubai like you have Macau having with Hong Kong, mainland China. Okay, when the casinos come up, the sheer volume of people who will start coming to the casino, we do not have enough hotels there to handle it. So the Airbnb in the short stay will actually be a lot in demand. Definitely. Ras Al Khaimah is also looking to develop to a desert tourism. So what they're launching now is it's the early move so that people can benefit from it once the casino comes up. There's two ways you can enter into a city. You can wait for the city to become hot and come in. You are at a disadvantage because there will be multiple options. Prices would have already gone up and there will be a lot of competition. Or you can come in early. When you come in early, you will get the softest prices. You will get the best payment plans. You will always make the highest return. Your exit from the opportunity is the most flexible. That is the reason why Ras Al Khaimah became attractive to people. A lot of the people who will go to the casinos, when they take a trip to the UAE, they will not go only to Ras Al Khaimah and fly out. They will come to Dubai. It's just like people come to Hong Kong and then they take a 45-minute hydrofoil and they will go to Macau. That's what happens, but they come back to mainland. They will still be coming to Dubai, but for the casino for now, because there is no casino that will be operating at least for the next 5 to 7 years in the UAE other than the one at Wynn. Even the Abu Dhabi one that will get announced, not yet announced. Eventually, when they announce for Dubai, because MGM is not getting the casino, there is nothing that will run as an operating casino for 7 years. The only one that will be available from 27 beginning is Ras Al Khaimah. So once that happens, you will see a lot of interest and money flowing into Ras Al Khaimah. Because who is going to come to the casinos in RAC? Not the Americans. It's the Arabs, it's the Indians, it's the Africans, it's the Chinese. These are the people who are going to be coming in there. So you will get a lot of interest coming up in RAC once the casino opens. But the smart investors are the ones who are picking up now because there's already been a 78% increase in some of the properties there in the last 2 years. 78%. That itself shows you the demand. Don't look at Ras Al Khaimah for what it is now. Ras Al Khaimah is not a short-term investment. It is a long-term investment, just like Dubai South. You don't come into these areas so that you exit quickly. You hold it because it's growing well and then it will skyrocket when certain things will happen. That is the opportunity to get out. Ras Al Khaimah is absolutely brilliant. If you have any client, go for it.
Do you think Ras Al Khaimah will go
also put a price more than Dubai?
No.
But I'm asking this question because the price now in Ras Al Khaimah is at least 2,000 per square feet, and they are just starting now. But Dubai is the same price. So how?
No. Compare waterfront prices. The Ras Al Khaimah properties are waterfront prices, one. Secondly, they are hotel projects on the beach. Compare that with your Palm Jumeirahs and all your waterfront properties, they are not close to us. What you're doing is you're comparing across the prices in Dubai. They're not launching city projects. They're not launching gated communities in the desert. They're going waterfront, high-end premium, which is coming next to hotels. You have to compare that with our waterfront.
And what's the expectation for the capital appreciation that's going to happen over there? What percentage are we talking about?
Between 15 to 18% every year. Every single year. And that becomes cumulative, right? It's always the second year's 15 to 18 is on the increased one. You cannot lose in Ras Al Khaimah. You will lose in Ras Al Khaimah if you don't buy.
Some people they ask about the expected ROI just as a rent from Airbnb, and when you ask them, they say there's no records that could show. I can give you exact number.
How can you have a record for an industry which is not even opened?
I agree, but how can you say?
It's projections. Anything, anything. Palm Jebel Ali, how do you know it will sell? How do you know it will make money? So you're looking based at something in the past. So you will look at past trends, you will look at demands for the future, and then you'll make a prediction. And that is not just real estate. That is any industry on the planet. Every company makes a plan, right? They have a budget, they have a forecast on revenue. How is that created? By looking at how they have performed in the past, by looking at the demand for their type of industry, and by looking at future global predictions. Based on that, you have a prediction that we will do X amount of money as a revenue. There is no guarantee on any of that. There is no record about the future. In
Ham Jabali, I understand they have some selling points. Meydan, Mohammed bin Rashid City, Srima, I understand. I don't understand the Akers. I don't understand the Shoba Reserve. How we can make sales? How we sell? The location, not the factor. And in one source also, I would love your advice. Another buy is for
okay, right. So certain communities, the ones that are in the desert, not very close to the city, I don't understand how those as gated communities are going to be attractive to sell. Now, you need to understand that Dubai is working on a model which is called micro-cities. Micro-cities. One of the benefits for Dubai is we have learned from the cities like New York, London, Singapore, which is an island. They ran out of place very quickly. Shanghai, Hong Kong. So they have no place to go and develop. So Dubai's model, not now, for the last 15 years has been micro-cities. So even if you look at the communities that are going to be created, they will create these communities to surround a nice commercial or more shopping or retreat or park areas, so that they want to create the concept that once you go back into your community, you don't really need to leave it even for a whole weekend. So instead of having the traffic concentrated by coming into the city, you create everything out there. Let's take an example of all the communities that launched in the last 14 to 15 years. Let's look at Dubai Hills Estate. Let's look at Damak Hills. They created these communities to give you an entire lifestyle. You'll get the parks, you'll get golf courses, you'll get shopping malls, you'll get artificial beaches and pools, weekend activities. Now, even with Dubai Hills, you have office spaces in there. So they create them like micro-cities. And the other concept of micro-city, when you look at most of these communities, they will give you townhouses, independent villas, and apartments, so that they can attract different levels of lifestyle into the community. The whole idea is to spread the population that is going to start coming in across multiple areas. There is a big preference for gated communities in the Middle East as at large, not just Dubai. And that is the reason why you have these communities that are going to be doing absolutely well. You must also understand it in the light of the future development of Dubai in each area. Only when you look at communities in the light of future development will it make sense. When Arabian Ranches was announced, 2002 end, and they said we will start handing over by 2005, everybody in Dubai was saying what? It's in the middle of the desert. There's a global village next to it. How many times will you go to a global village? You see the area now? Arabian Ranches, all the gated communities are around there. And look at the developers who are there. Imar, Damak, you've got Nashama a little further up, but then you've got Tilal Al Gaf with Majid Al Futim. So you've got all the there's Dubai Properties with Muda. So all of them have come in the same. So are we saying all these developers did not know what they were doing? That has happened in that area. Now look at what is happening with the Imar new launches. When they launched Oasis, okay? After Oasis, Damak is now coming up with another community there. Imar has just announced 2 mega projects coming up in the same area, little beyond the Oasis, moving towards DIP and towards the Maktoum International Airport, right? So you have more and more of these communities coming from some of the biggest developers. There is no questioning this, that Imar and Damak, whatever be the reputation about them in the market, they are visionary and they come in areas that become money-spinning areas always. When Damak launched in Akoya, which is now called a D2, a lot of people said they're going in the middle of the desert. Then Imar goes right next to that with Valley. The two biggest developers in terms of aggression and visibility and performance in the market always go next to each other. Now a Damak is again coming next to the new launches of Imar. Which are the 2 new launches of Imar that it's just been announced, not yet launched? Imar. No. Near Oasis. No, not Nashama. Near Oasis. Near Dubai South. There are 2 master communities that have been announced. Okay, there is the Heights Country Club, and there is the Grand Club Resort. Together, both of them are a 96 billion investment by Imar. It was in the papers last week. Who didn't tell you? Yeah, Imar, Mohammed Alabar called me and told me, right? It's in the newspapers for everybody to read. We have to read. We don't. No one's going to tell us. That's why I'm telling you. Okay, and I will take it up with Mohammed Alabar. Why didn't you call the brokers in REM? Come on, guys. All right. So it's 2 communities coming up. Okay. All the information you're going to hear from me now is from the newspapers. Okay. The first one, the Heights Country Club, is going to be built on 81 million square feet at an investment of 55 billion dirhams. It's coming in the Al Yalais area, which is the next area in Dubai for high-end living.
Which newspaper?
Every newspaper carried it. Okay, go and look at Arabian Gold. Just simply put Imar 2 new launches, 96 billion. Put it in your Google, you'll get everything. So the first one is called the Heights Country Club, 81 million square foot development, 55 billion is the cost of construction. The second one is called the Grand Club Resort, which will have a hotel that is 60 million square feet, construction cost 41 billion. So between 2 communities itself, both coming in the Al Yalais area, which is between Oasis and the new airport in that area. It is the next big place in town. Now let's put that number into perspective. January and February of this year, Dubai has registered a total transaction value of 107 billion. Total transaction value, 107 billion, Jan and Feb. So if you take the entire performance of the city, commercial, residential, hotels, villas, apartments, off-plan, secondary, warehouses, plots. You take the whole city for 2 months. 92% of that is being announced in just 2 communities by 1 developer. 1 developer coming with 2 communities, that is almost the full transaction value for 2 months in the city of Dubai. The city of Dubai. You think Imar does not know what they're doing? The Oasis, which is next to that, is a 73 billion dirham development. It's $20 billion. And now Damak is coming up in the same area. That area is moving towards the south. Imar South has just made an announcement. The farm villas, phase 3, is going to be announced now. Why is all of this happening in that area? Did you know that the Palm Jebel Ali is now being referred to as South? South, S-O-U-T-H. You have Dubai South, right? Why is it called Dubai South? Any idea? Because it's in the south? That is, yeah, there is a developer called Dubai South. You're right. But why is it called Dubai South? Because we are in the north? You think they actually named it north and south because of direction?
Actually, it's direction south.
No, it has got nothing to do with that. In that case, we should have Dubai West and Dubai East also. No, it is not that. Yes, the district is named, but why Dubai South? We never named any district here as north, west, or east. The name has got nothing to do with direction. It has got to do with a concept and a lifestyle. And this is not new. This information has been in the market for 8 years. What surprises me is most people are not aware of it. The term South is associated with premium lifestyle. And there are many examples around the world. South Beach in Miami. The billionaires in Miami live in South Beach. South London is where you have all the art museums, the high-end dining, and the premium shopping malls. So only the richest people stay in South London. South Mumbai, all the top actors of Bollywood, the billionaires, the best hotels in Mumbai are all in South Mumbai. Palm Jebel Ali is in the south with 80 new hotels coming up. You have District 2020. You've got the biggest airport in the world in that area. That is the future ultra-high net worth residences in Dubai. That is why it is called Dubai South. We are trying to help people associate premium lifestyle like you do it with South London and South Mumbai. So the next time you're ever presenting, and by the way, you can use it for farm villas, right? Talk to them. This is not about location. We're talking about communities coming up in the next big thing in Dubai in terms of luxury. That is what the term Dubai South stands for. See how important it is to have the knowledge. Because you will justify the pricing, you will justify why those communities will sell. We know that the millionaires of the world are coming to Dubai. The millionaires and the billionaires are all coming to Dubai, right? This year we will be number 1, Sydney will be number 2. These are the people who are going to go into those places. Premium branded residences. Arabian Business carried this article. It came out 3 days ago. Premium branded residences. We are the number 1 city in the world now for premium branded residences. Now, we are talking standalone premium branded residences, not something with a hotel component. There are many projects launched which has got a hotel attached to it. Hotels are always branded. But you have now individual projects coming out which are premium branded. Look at the Mercedes-Benz places, the Bengatis, all of the Bugattis. There are many projects now coming up because the billionaires in the world or the millionaires, they don't want regular penthouses. They don't want just any villa. They want branded villas and lifestyle. And that is the reason why you'll see more and more. In the next 4 years, 54% of the residential market, 54%, more than half, this is Arabian Business 3 days ago, more than half are going to be premium branded residences, 54%. In the next 4 years, the number of launches that will have premium brands attached is 78% against the global average of 41% in the premium cities. So if you look at the top 15 cities in the world, Knight Frank report of January 2024 gives you the top 15, okay? 18th edition of the report. It's out. Google it and download it. Of those top 15 cities, the average number of premium branded residences being launched for the next 4 years is 41%. Dubai is 78%. Should tell you something about the city. We know that the premium prices went up 16% last year. And it is going to continue to rise. Even with the prices going up, if you look at the top 15 cities, Dubai is number 13 at the bottom when it comes for the price per square foot. Today in Dubai, for $1 million, you can get 979 square feet. We are still more attractive than any of the other top cities. We are number 13 from the bottom. if you look at the cities that are more expensive than Dubai, you'll see New York, Paris, London, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Monaco. All of these are coming up there. But if you look at the power cities ranking worldwide, we are ahead of all these cities. Look at the top 15. There is not even one city in the top 15 that is ahead of us in the global rankings. So we are offering a city better than the remaining 14 in the top list, but our prices are only at 30% of what you pay there. Which one is the better deal? 30% of what you'll pay in those countries, those cities. Today, people are ready to pay a lot of money for New York. They're ready to pay a lot of money for Tokyo. They'll pay it for Singapore. They'll pay it for Shanghai. They'll pay it for Hong Kong. So they'll pay for Monaco. So they will look at these cities and say, okay, we know who they are today because they are attracting people because of their lifestyle and their positioning globally. That's why there is a peak. Today, we are offering a city that is ahead of all those cities and at 1/3 the price. That is the deal. Welcome to Dubai. Now, you have to be prepared for prices going up for the next 7 to 8 years. You have to be prepared for this, okay? We cannot sit here and start thinking prices have gone too high, the market is overheating. The market is not overheating. An overheated market is when prices are continuing to rise, but the city is not developing and moving to the next level. That's when you have overheating because people are raising prices, but it is not going as in justification with the lifestyle the city will offer. So it's the other way around in Dubai. And the prices will go up. It has to go up. We are going to be the #1 city on the planet. Look at all the top cities. They're all expensive. So the mistake that people make in Dubai today, whether it is an investor or a broker, is we are historically based. We are looking backwards to the city of the past. We're looking at the prices of the past. We want the city of the future, but we want it at the prices of the past. Does that make sense? That's what we want. We want the best city on the planet, but give it to us at 2014 price or give it at 2010 price. No, the price is too high. But we are ahead of the best cities in the world and 1/3 the price. Where is the common sense? It's not being used. Real estate is about the future. We are not a fossil industry. Fossils come from dead animals, right? They're from the past. So if I'm looking at what the prices were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you're looking at dinosaurs. You're looking at the past because the Dubai of 10 years ago or 15 years ago or even 6 years ago was not the best city in the world. So for that Dubai, that was not even in the top 20, those prices were okay. For a city today that's going to be #1 on the planet, you cannot have those prices. So we cannot be a fossil. We need to be futuristic. Come into the future. So it is going to continue to rise. It has to rise. All the cities that I mentioned earlier, the Hong Kongs, Singapores, the Shanghais, the Londons, the Tokyos, the New Yorks, you know, one of the common features with all those cities, can anybody tell me? I'll repeat the cities again. New York, London, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai. Tax? No, popular cities and in the top 15.
Europe, English, the language.
It's the stock exchanges. It's the financial markets. These are the strongest stock exchanges and financial markets in the world. The London Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, the Hong Kong one, Tokyo. These are the strongest on the planet. Today, Dubai has reached #4 with DIFC. And we will continue to grow. So now, even on the financial frontier, we are competing with the best in the world. How can you expect a city that is giving better lifestyle infrastructure, business environment infrastructure, safety, cleanliness, future vision, giving you a walk-in literally with visas to come into the city, now going financially to the top of the world, but you want that city at prices from 10 years ago? This is not the Dubai of 10 years ago. So stop comparing to 10 years ago price. You need to get this into your head first. Otherwise, you will never be able to sell off plan again. Off plan is about the future and is tied to the economy of Dubai. Show me one city in the world that has actually published online for the world to see their agenda for the next 10 years and 20 years. Do the search and send it to me. There's only one city in the world that has even done that. And that is the reason why the people are coming here. What was announced 2 days ago? 5 years visa was announced last year.
1.5 million to Dubai Mall visitors.
Okay, the visitors to Dubai Mall, 105 million, right? I did a podcast a few months ago and I compared New York, visitors to New York and Dubai. I don't know, some of you may have seen it, right? Because I had a few people who came back and commented and they said, where do you get these numbers from? How do you know there's 65 million visitors in downtown area? Dubai Mall alone has got 105 million now. Yes, 88. So we know the numbers. New York as a city had 62 million visitors, the whole city. And you know New York, one of the most popular cities in the world, right? Godzilla goes there, King Kong goes there, the aliens also come to New York. Everybody comes to New York. And they had 62 million people. Dubai Mall had 105 million. We're not talking tourists, we're talking visitors. So that is local as well as international. Tourist by definition is someone who spends one night in your city. But when New York tells you we had 62 million visitors, not tourists, that's local as well as international. We have one area in Dubai that has that. Look at the magnet the city has become today to the world. You have to be ambassadors for Dubai. Only then can you explain what is happening in the market today. So the prices are going to continue to rise, okay? Let's be clear about it. So someone who's sitting today and looking at 3 years ago what the price was, shift his focus. Say, you should be looking at the future because 3 years from now, you will be looking at that price and then you'll be looking backwards and today will look cheap. Today is looking expensive to you because you're a fossil. You're like a dinosaur looking at the past. We are a futuristic city. We are not a fossil city. Okay, so when you sit today and compare to 3 years ago, yes, it looks expensive. 3 years from now, when you look at that price, today will look cheap. So it's always going to be that way. Okay? Get to know what's coming up in the future in this city. You're going to have more and more projects coming up, high-end projects. You'll have affordable as well coming. But you're going to have more and more. There is no way for the next 5 to 6 years prices will drop. The Property Monitor report, which came out 2 days ago, you can go to Property Monitor, Google it. They're using words like it is utterly remarkable. They cannot even explain why the increases are happening, but they are confirming the increases are happening. It is easy to explain it if you look at the economic agenda of Dubai. But even Property Monitor, everybody who was going on looking at 2014 are now saying Dubai is continuing its amazing run. 2024, there are no indicators that the prices are going to reduce. But the investor will tell you correction is coming. Brokers will tell you it has to come. Ask the broker, what did you look at? They will go fossil. Agree? They will look at the previous cycle, what happened, and they will tell you it has to, because handovers are happening. This is the first time in the history of real estate in the world. This is the first time when handovers are going ahead aggressively and launches are also going ahead aggressively. This kind of market never existed in history. Whenever launches were happening a lot, there were less handovers. Whenever handovers were happening, launches slowed down. For the first time, there's only one market on the planet now where launches are aggressive and handovers are also aggressive. There was an article last week, Construction Online. There's a magazine called Construction Week Online. 7% was the increase in construction costs in the Middle East last year. Dubai, it was 3%. It was 7% in the Middle East. Now, who can interpret that number? What does it mean when cost of construction material is going up? Is there a demand for the material? So if there is a demand for construction material and prices are going up, Why should prices not go up for the property when there is demand? Now look at what the government has done. The government has put a cap. They have said there will be no increases in 2024 on construction material cost without permission from the government. Why? When a developer launches a project and he has a 3-year timeline, 4-year timeline, he takes into account projected costs and increase. So he has factored those in to pay the contractors while he puts the selling price on it. So if the contractors or the construction material companies are going to increase their prices just like that, it does hurt even the developers. And so there is, it was out in the papers last week. The Department of Economy has said any contractor who will increase prices will get a 1 million fine and legal consequences. Or they have to present their case to the ministry and get approval to increase. One of the reasons the prices started to go up was they put a restriction on the weight of the trucks and the heavy goods carriers into Dubai. So what contracting companies were doing is they were piling excess amounts on these heavy duty vehicles which were coming into the city to save on transportation costs. Because when fuel is going up, they're trying to cut their costs. But when you have these super heavy vehicles coming in, they damage the roads long time. So the infrastructure in the city will have to be constantly upgraded because roads are constructed based on volume of traffic and weight of traffic. Okay? When you have trucks that are much more heavily loaded, there is pressure on the roads, the infrastructure. So there was a restriction put in Q4 of last year that all heavy trucks coming into Dubai will be weighed. They got the weighing stations. And if you are carrying load above the weight, there is a fine. So now it means that these building materials, instead of coming on 2 trucks, have to come on 3 trucks, which increases the cost of transportation. So they're increasing the prices. So there's a lot that is going on, and it's good to keep on top of this information. You should be aware of what's happening. How would you be seen as an expert in the industry? When you have the knowledge and you have the skills and you have the access to inventory and you're able to get your clients what they want, then you're an expert. It cannot just be I'm closing a few deals, 1 deal a month, 2 deals in 3 months. You will never be an expert. You'll close deals, but you cannot be seen as expert in the market. Please know your numbers and what's actually happening in the market. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. And I'm telling you for a fact, over the next 5 years, there is no drop on prices expected to continue to increase. So 2 objections you'll have to really be good at answering is the prices are going up ridiculously in Dubai. That is coming. The second, there is a correction because there are too many handovers happening. You're going to hear this for the next 5 years, whether you like it or not. Be in a position to answer it. And this is happening because Dubai is attracting 2 types. The residents and the new increase in population, they will absorb the ready units. The future investors will absorb the off-plan units. So we are presenting the opportunity to both. The city is visionary. Never ever compare Dubai to any city. There is no city on the planet that can compare to us. Show me any city in the world which in 25 years became number 3 on the planet. Name one. It took Singapore 76 years to do it, 3 times the time we took. So how can you then compare this city and how we operate to anywhere else on the planet? Anything else? We go back. I heard something that come there. Yeah.
Our client, let's say they are interested, have money. What's your insight for Shoba? Because for me, Shoba always I feel something so.
Okay, how much did Shoba sell last year? It was in the papers. 15.5 billion. It's in the papers. 15.5 billion last year. They have publicly announced it. Go back to your clients and say 15.5 billion was invested in Shoba last year. That is more than $1 billion every month. Are we suggesting that those people don't know that it is expensive and that there's no value to the communities? Except that what you want.
Let's say Shoba and Kumar, they always they are together.
That perfectly makes sense. It's by association. Would you agree? You're saying Emar is where Shobha is, or Shobha is where Emar is. Okay. Tell the client, would you agree that Emar is an amazing developer? Yes. Would you agree they have a very good track record in Dubai? Yes. Would you agree that they go into areas that become hotspots in the future? Yes. Well, if that is the case, if that area is going to become a hotspot and the biggest developer in the world has selected that area, why would you consider an opportunity there by Shobha as not being good? And then, of course, you have to know the uniqueness of the property itself. You have to have the USPs of the project, because that has to justify the price. Okay, I get it. You're next to Emar, so the area is good. I get that. What? No. No one is cheaper than anybody in the market. No one is more expensive than anybody. People are putting a price tag based on what they understand is the value that they are giving. If we don't understand the value of that community or the villa, or a client cannot see it when we present, then they will see it as expensive or cheaper. Every unit that is out there, stop comparing between communities. Parking a BMW next to the Bentley will not make it a BMW. They can be next to each other. But the Bentley will come in at a price point because of who they are and what the car offers. The BMW will come with their price point because of who they are and what they're offering. Both cars are correctly priced for what they offer. So stop doing the comparison between one community and another community unless the two communities are very similar to each other. You cannot make the comparison. People compare only because of that. Brokers ask all the time, what is the PSF? True? Do you ask the question? You don't ask. How much is the PSF? Price per square foot. What will you do with that information? Someone explain to me. Okay, I tell you the PSF is 2,100 a square foot. What are you going to do with that information? You will only compare, but you are not supposed to compare. So it may be 2,100. The guy next door is 1950. Have you seen what he's giving you in the 950? If it is not the same, stop comparing. You can only compare two products which are alike. Just being in the same location doesn't mean they should have the same price. Nashama is in the same area. When you look at, just come a little away, you'll come to the Damak Hills and the Emar communities. Is Nashama price the same as them? So why would we even make such a comparison? It has no meaning. Comparison on pricing is done when we do not know how to differentiate the communities from each other. We have nothing else to talk about. It always comes down to price. That's how the comparison will happen. Okay? Right. Where were we last time? Where did we stop? We were on objections. No, we were on the objection, right? What did we cover? Any idea? Because I'm just training in too many places. I forget where I stopped. We had, did we do the 4 key tactics? Yeah? So we covered the 4 key tactics, which is the objection. Sorry, I didn't get that. Okay, so the 4 types of objections. So we looked at the 4 kinds of objections or resistances, which was opinions, excuses, objections, and we had looked at the counters, which is the negotiation, and what was the 4 approaches to deal with them. Did we do neutralizers? Yes. That's what I thought. And deflectors. So we did that, right? Okay, so then let me just quickly go past that. And then let's start looking at price clarifiers. Okay, so we had done this. That's what I thought we had done this. Okay. Okay, so now let's take a look at some examples of price clarifiers. Okay, it's all in your handouts, but I'll go through these one by one. Now, we saw last time when an objection is raised, you never handle the objection directly. The first thing you got to do is use a neutralizer or an empathy statement. Now, the empathy statement can be a generic one or it could be a specific one. Specific ones are created based on the objection that has been given to you. Now, once you have used the neutralizer, you need to check if this is a genuine objection. So you use the qualifier. Once you have confirmed that you're dealing with a genuine objection, you start using the clarifier. Basically, tell me more. Now, price is a concern that a lot of clients will raise. In fact, I think all of them will raise price. So before you answer price, you need to get some clarity from them what exactly is in their head when they're telling you it's expensive. So when a price objection comes up, you can have different ways of getting the clarification. I'll give you a few examples, all right? Always use it with a softener or an acknowledgement. So here's an example of one price clarifier, okay? Very nice one to use. When clients tell you, I think the price is too high or it's expensive, it's too much, I would simply turn around. If you can use the name of the client along with it, perfect. I would simply say, Ahmed, pricing is important for both of us. It's a very nice way to bring yourself into it. A client will negotiate. We understand that. He doesn't care about the developer. He doesn't care about you. He wants to get the best price for himself. We understand that, right? However, the pricing is important for the developer as well. And by the way, who's paying you? The developer or the client? The developer is paying you, right? Your commission. Why would you not take care of the developer also? Why are you only on the side of the client? Take care of your client. Be the person to make sure that your client is getting a unit at an attractive price. Be sure of that. But the person who's paying you for that is the developer, so don't throw him under the bus. It also affects your commissions, by the way. So a good neutralizer is you simply say, Ahmed, pricing is important for both of us. That's a neutralizer. And then you'll simply say, so if I may ask, how did you decide we are expensive? Okay, I'm a client and I tell you it's expensive. What does that mean?
Comparing prices with something else.
Comparing prices with someone else. Over his budget. So you see, for one client, it could be above his budget. For one client, he's doing comparison. Any other things it can mean? Price is expensive?
Maybe he wants to negotiate.
He wants to negotiate. So now, I don't know what's in his mind, correct? All I know is he said price is expensive. So never try to justify the price. Ask him to tell you more. How did you decide? Maybe he'll tell you, I came for the launch just last month. Okay, I can understand some increase, but 15% increase is ridiculous. So I know he's comparing it to a previous promotional entry price point. I know how to deal with it. If I don't ask the question, my answers could not convince the client. So anytime price comes up, you need to, anytime money comes up, let's put it like that. It could be payment plan related. It could be service charges. I think the service charges a lot. What does that mean? Who have they looked at? Which services or benefits did they consider when they decided it is high? No idea. So simply use a good neutralizer. Okay, generic neutralizer would be, I'm glad you brought that up. If I may ask, how exactly did you decide we are expensive? If you want to go a nice specific one, this is a good one to use. Prices are important, Ahmed, for both of us. So what did you look at when you decided we are expensive? Let him give me the reason before I will answer. So this is a clarifier on the price objection, okay? Another example that I'll give you is, at this stage, I can see why you feel that way. Can I ask, which product have you compared me with? So empathy, at this stage, I can see why you feel that way. Can I ask, which project have you compared me with? Because there has to be something in his head when he has decided the price is high, right? You can't just walk in, look at something in isolation and say, wallah, too much. It has to have some reference point. I want the reference point, then I will deal with it, okay? Third one, this is in the handouts, right? Now, well, that's an interesting statement. When the client says price is high, well, that's an interesting statement. When you say it's high, in relation to what did you decide that? What did you actually look at when you decided that? So it's just different ways of asking the same question. You don't have to use all, you can choose one or two which you like and just use those. But never answer a price objection till you find out what's in his head, okay? I'll give you three more. These are my favorites. The next three are my personal favorites. They're very, very nice, hard to answer also, okay? So the first one here is, client says the prices are high. I would say, I understand. can I ask which benefits did you look at when you decided that? You cannot answer this question. Because when the client is saying the price is high, he's looking at it in isolation, right? When I tell him, I redirect his focus to the benefit. Now he has to go back to the USPs of the project. Imagine answering, well, the price is high because it's on a high flow and because it has a view of the ocean. You see how stupid it sounds? So redirect him to the benefit. So I understand. Can I ask which benefits did you look at when you decided the price is high? Because they have to start talking about the benefit of that opportunity. That itself cancels out the objection. Or at least it will weaken the objection. All right? Because if they give you genuine answers about the benefits, you would simply smile and say, now that you have seen why this is such a good opportunity, wouldn't you agree the prices have to be different? And then go with the closing statement. How would you like to make the down payment? Which unit would you like to go for? Just go with the closing statement, all right? The focus here, the strategy here is get them to think about the benefit of the opportunity, okay? The next one is a combination of two questions. Client has said the price is high. Ask only the first question, okay? How expensive do you think we are? They'll give you a smart answer, 10%, 8%, 12%. Then ask the second question. How did you decide that? There's no answer to the second one. There's no answer to the second one. But don't ask them the questions together. But how much more expensive do you think we are and how did you decide that? They will be careful with what they say. You want to get them back into their own trap, yeah? So simply turn and say, well, how much more expensive do you think we are? How did you decide that? There is no answer. When there is no answer to the second question, which is how did you decide that, the first one is cancelled out straight away. And then the next one, this is my all-time favorite. It's slightly longer. You use an authority tone, the no-nonsense kind of tone, but it's a combination of 3-4 different techniques, and it works every time, okay? So let me actually share it with you, tell you what's happening here. The first, you will start with an authority statement. So the authority statement, client has said your price is high, you're expensive. I say, Ahmed, we price based on lifestyle and performance. That's the statement, okay? We price based on lifestyle and performance, okay? When you invest with us, you don't just save on price, you earn in value. Can I ask which benefits you looked at when you decided we are expensive? That's it. You won't get an answer to this one, guaranteed. But you need authority in this statement, okay? Have you ever met anybody who looks at a Lamborghini and says, oh, that car costs too much, it's expensive? Ever seen a client walk into a Lamborghini showroom and say, why is your car so expensive? No. So because he already knows the car justifies that price because of its legacy, because of its performance, and because of the social style or signature it will give you in the market. And people are willing to pay for that. It will only be expensive if the guy who's got money for the Bentley goes into the Lamborghini showroom. Maybe you're sitting with a client without proper qualifying. The guy is a studio or a one-bedroom guy and you're trying to show him a townhouse. Of course, it's expensive for him. It has nothing to do with the property. It's just that, man, like someone said, it's way above my budget. This isn't what I'm willing to spend. So use these as price clarifiers, okay? Now, I'm going to introduce you to the objection handling process. After that, we'll take a short break, come back and continue with specific techniques on handling the objection, okay? Now, the process is a 7-step process. Don't freak out. It takes 25 seconds. I will demonstrate it. Only 25 seconds, but you cannot break the process. It is so strong, you will stay in control of the objection. The process is not the answer to the objection. The process is what you will use, and the answer to the specific objection will be put into that process, okay? It's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it that will make the difference. Now, you have to remain in control during the objection handling process. Why? When a client raises an objection, let's assume it's a genuine objection, he's not feeling good at that moment. So he moves into emotional space. When someone is moving into emotional space, I must be in control. So I can pull him back from there to the logic space, which is the left brain. There I will give him the actual answer to the objection. So what I will say, the fact will come in the left brain, but he's sitting in the right brain because he's not feeling good. The right brain is not about fact. So please don't try to answer the objection when the client is sitting in a negative space. Bring him back, and only then you will answer it. So that is what the process will do for you. Okay, now let's go through the process. It's in your handouts. Okay, so the first thing, it doesn't matter whatever is the objection. Now is not a good time to invest. Interest rates have gone too high. The market, Dubai is a bubble. Correction is coming. Prices are too high. Payment plan very aggressive. Projects are always delayed. Developer has a negative reputation. It really doesn't matter what is the objection, right? Any of the objections. Let's say, for example, they say that there is a correction that will come within the next few months in the market. I will first start by using an acknowledgement. I'm glad you brought that up. Or that's a valid concern. Anything, yeah? Or I can see why you feel that way. Or I can see this is important. Or I understand. You'll always start with that. That's the first part of the 7 steps. It takes 2 seconds, right? So client has said, I think there's a correction coming in the market. I say, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Then I need to immediately qualify if it is a genuine objection or it's a smoke screen. So I'll simply go and qualify. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Now, don't say, is that the only thing stopping you? You must put that last bit, from going ahead. Why? There is a trap in this question. I'll show that to you in step 6 and 7. So the second one is that the only thing? You have to mention only, because I'm going to go back to the only later, all right? The client will not expect it at all. So, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? There's only a yes or no to this. Maybe, I guess, something like that is all in the no category, all right? So I want to hear a clear, confident yes. Well, yeah, that's what's stopping me from going ahead. Now, once I have got that, I need him to clarify. He needs to now tell me why he believes the correction is coming. Is there a fact behind it, or is he saying something that is a perception from people? So the third step will simply be to clarify. And when you're clarifying, this is the structure. Do not touch the structure. The structure is there for a reason. In sales, it is all about psychology. It's what goes on in the mind of the salesperson and the mind of the prospect. How do you control the mind of people? Through unconscious influence. Unconscious influence is created through behavior patterns and language patterns. So the structure for objections is created based on patterns of influence. So never touch the structure. So when I'm clarifying, here's how you will do it. You would say, so when you say, repeat the objection the way he said it. When you say, repeat the objection, what exactly do you mean? The word exactly must be there. If you say, what do you mean? It's a bit open. What exactly do you mean? The mind automatically is pulled into looking for a specific, because that's what the word exactly will do. Tell me what exactly happened. People will go into specific, because I don't want a vague answer when I'm trying to find out. Okay, now, those are the first 3 steps. If you look at the tools that we talked about last week, the first one is your neutralizer. The second is the qualifier to check off smoke screens. Third is the clarifier. So all 3 are used. So I'll do all 3 together. You can time me if you want. Okay, just to show you how fast it is. Client has said, there's a correction coming. So I'll turn around and say, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Well, yeah, that's what's stopping me from going ahead. So when you say there's a correction coming, what exactly do you mean? How long does it take? 10 seconds. 3 steps are already done, but you're in control. You have not answered anything. I've shown the empathy. I'm with him. And then I need him to expand. Okay? Now, you can lose some control on the objection handling at this point, because I don't know if he's going to speak for 5 seconds with the answer or 2 minutes. Never interrupt. At this stage, never interrupt, because if it's a genuine concern, if he has lost money himself in the past, it's a pain area. I've asked him to explain. Don't interrupt. They will not like it. Okay? It also suggests you are not listening. You've already assumed what is the problem and you're ready with your answer. Never do that. Let him speak. Simply listen. But while he is speaking, you must have good eye contact. Nod your head a little bit in between. Show him that you're actually interested and listening to him. Don't be this blank sales guy who's just there and ready to give an answer. People can sense that. All right, so listen. He might give you some very good information which I need before I give the answer. Now, after this third step is done, your response patterns will start. So the first 3 is to take control and to get him to expose the concern. Now I will start my response. So the response is done in steps 4 and 5 combined. You don't pause in between them. I will pause just to give you an explanation why we are doing it. Then I'll do it together for you. Okay? So 4th step, you got to neutralize again. Why?
Bring him from negative state to
Exactly. Remember, I brought him from negative in the first one, right? Ahmed, I'm glad you brought that up. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? Well, yeah, that's what's stopping me right now. So, Ahmed, when you say whatever it is, what exactly do you mean? Now, you see, he's talking to me, but when he starts explaining the problem, he can go back into negative space. So before I answer it, I will again use a neutralizer. And the only neutralizer you will use here is I understand. It's the most powerful one that you can use here. Don't say, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for sharing that. They're all nice. But the most powerful one is I understand. Why? The client wants to feel you have got what my concern is. So I understand works very well. And then you will switch to the third party. Because when I want to give my fact or my answer, I will give it as what the whole community or the investors or all the buyers have figured out. Because he trusts them more than me. Now, there's a way to do this. After the third step, which is when you say, what exactly do you mean? And I'm listening to him. The moment he finishes, pause for a second. Don't immediately answer. Pause with good eye contact. It's almost like I'm processing what you're saying. So you're just looking at the person for a second. Eye contact must be there, all right? So just pause, look at the person, and then say, I understand. It is very powerful, okay? If you're not looking and then you say, yeah, I understand, but you're disconnected from the person, no eye contact, so I understand. Then you'll say, some of my best clients initially felt that way. So I'm going third party. And then the answer comes in the 5th one, and there is a magic word there, okay? I understand. Some of my best clients initially felt that way, but it actually surprised them to discover. Then you give the answer. Don't just give the answer. It surprised them to discover, because what happens in the mind, the feeling is that people had a strong doubt about something, but they were surprised it actually wasn't like that. That's the suggestion you put into their head, right? So I understand. Many of my investors initially felt the same, but it actually surprised them to discover that in the last 3 years in Dubai, even with aggressive handovers, prices were increasing 17% on an average every year. That's the reason they went ahead and invested. So your answer comes after that. So whatever is the objection he raised, here you will put the answer. The answer comes only in the 5th step, but it doesn't take time to do the whole thing, all right? Now, what is important is 4, 5, and 6 are done together. You will not pause in between, okay? So I'll do 4, 5. Okay, let me show you 6 and then I will do it. You have to check satisfaction. Never answer an objection and just go silent, waiting for a reaction from the client. Never do that. Also, never go ahead with the process. Check if they are satisfied with your answer. Because if they are not satisfied, you are dragging a person who still has doubt into the next part of the process. You will not get the result you want. Because if he's not convinced with the answer, I have to still deal with it. Otherwise, there's no way we can go forward on this, right? Now, the tone becomes very important here. It has to be like a concerned tone, right? So, does that answer your question satisfactorily? Please underline the word satisfactorily. You must use that. Don't say, does that answer your question? Because if he says, yes, that answers my question, how much did it answer? Is he happy with it? You're not clear. So simply say, does that answer your question satisfactorily? And if he says yes, and the tone of voice is good, go with the trial close. So which unit would you like to go for? Immediately the trial close. Now there's another way to ask this. You could also ask, so how do you feel about what I said? If it is a right brain client. If it is a left brain client, you'd say, so what do you think about what I just said? My personal favorite is the closed question. Does that answer your question satisfactorily? And in case if he says yes and the tone is good, simply go with a closing questions. We call it a trial close, right? Which unit would you like to go for? How would you like to make the down payment? Now, what's the reason you can confidently go for the close here? Question number 2 at the top. What did we ask? Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? That's the trap. And he has said, yes, that's what's stopping me. Now in question 6, we are saying, does that answer your question satisfactorily? Well, yeah, you've answered the question. Excellent. In that case, which unit would you like to go for? Because he confirmed, that's the only thing stopping me. Now I've asked, have I answered that question? Why will you not go for a close? So the structure is designed to keep you in control, create the influence, expose what's in his mind, confirm it, then answer it, confirm he likes the answer, go for the close. You cannot go wrong if you practice the structure. And it really doesn't matter what is the objection. Any objection that you give can be put into this structure. Let's try an example. Give me any objection. Done. Okay, so first thing I would do is I'd take the name of the client. I would say, Ahmed, I can see this is important. Is that the only thing stopping you from going ahead? You'll have to say, well, yeah, that's what's stopping me. So Ahmed, when you say the market is going down, what exactly do you mean? Pause, let him give you the answer, all right? Because I don't know what's in his head. Then once he has given me the answer, I look at him and I say, I understand. Some of my best clients initially felt the same, but it actually surprised them to discover, give your answer. Does that answer your question satisfactorily? If he says yes, well, which unit would you like to go for? Or how would you like to make the down payment? Or in that case, why don't we just finish the paperwork on this so we can discuss what happens next? The structure will stay. The answer will change for any specific objection. Give me another objection.
The weather is too hot during the summer.
Chinese investors. Chinese investors. No. A lot of Chinese investors. When I used to go to Shanghai and Guangzhou and Shenzhen, I used to get questions like, you don't get pork in Dubai. P-O-R-K, pork. I used to have the Chinese investors tell me, but there's no pork in Dubai. The guy's looking to invest to make money. Yeah, I know. So that is why you can answer the question. It is very easy to answer the question. Because
some client says that we cannot afford it, but we know they can.
we know, of course you know they can. Because anyone who comes when you're qualifying and then they're saying, I have only 2 million, I'll come to you. There's a hand up at the back, I'll come to you, right? So when a person says that it's 2 million, that's all I have. Firstly, if you know it is 2 million, present something in 2 million. What is important is when you qualify, you can increase the amount. So if I don't increase the amount and then I show them something and they are not convinced about the value, they will tell you we can't. But the truth is if the guy said 2 million, he's got 30 million in the bank. We already know that.
So what we can do?
What? About what?
Like if you want to scale in the end, like you want to scale, so I cannot afford it. I don't have this money.
Okay, I would direct him back to the qualifying. I will take the name of the client and say, Ahmed, help me understand this. You did mention that you were looking for a townhouse in a gated community. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm reconfirming. You did mention that you were looking, he gave you the qualification, right?
Yeah.
Repeat that. You did mention 1, 2, 3, 4, and for that you mentioned you were willing to invest up to 2 million and you could make a decision in the next 2 weeks. Is that correct? You'll have to say yes. So now, if you've shown him a townhouse in a gated community within 2 million, why would he say he can't afford?
I tell him that you are a liar.
No, you're not telling him. You are just putting him back on the foot based on his word. So I have shown you what you told me you wanted and for the amount you were ready to put. That's what I showed you. No, wait, I still have to finish her question. Then there is a hand up at the back, and then you, and then you. Okay, you guys don't want breaks? Okay, now, if it is a homeowner who wants to live here, then yes, the 7 months of aggressive weather could be a challenge. But if this guy is an investor, why does it even matter? So change his mentality. I would take the name of the client and I would say, Lily, okay, help me understand this. Are you looking to invest to make an attractive return, or are you looking to invest to have good weather? Which is the reason you're looking to invest?
If it's a half-half.
What?
I understand, like he wants to stay for a period, but he don't want to stay.
Okay, so if he says half-half, all right? So investment as well as good weather, I'll say that's exactly why you should buy in Dubai. What do you mean? He gets confused. Say, did you know that even with 7 months of aggressive weather in Dubai, we still have the highest number of visitors in summer months into the city? So for you, you could come in the 5 beautiful months if you wanted to stay, and we rent it out for the rest of the months. Make sense? Halas. Shift him to what is important. I'll come to you later. I mean, there was a hand up at the back. Okay, so a lot of people will say, let me think about it, or I need some time, or I don't want to rush my decision. Go back again to the qualifying. What do you find out in qualifying? First is the need, right? What's the reason you're looking to invest now? Okay, or what kind of a home are you looking for? Ask all the relevant questions on the need. After that, I take his need and ask the money question. Always ask the money question with the need. So Ahmed, from what you told me, you're looking for a 4-bedroom villa, standalone. You prefer it in a community like Tilal Al Ghaf. And for that kind of a villa, how much are you looking at investing? I will get that question from him. All right. So let's say, Ahmed, I could find you that type of a home, 4-bedroom villa in Arabian Ranch, whatever it may be, and I could get it for you within that 8.6 million. How soon are you looking at buying? That is part of my qualifying before I even show any a solution. So unit comes much later. No, you have agreed on the price, but you have not agreed on when is he planning to buy. That is part of qualifying. Get onto YouTube, Google, and find out from anyone. They will tell you 4 things you must qualify before you'll even open your mouth about a solution. First is need, second is money, third is the time frame, fourth is if he's the key decision maker. If you don't have a clear answer to these 4, do not start presenting, because then later you are presented based on what he's looking for within the range that he's ready to pay, and you're expecting the deal, but you've never asked, is he looking to buy now or is he just searching for it now? So you will end up with this question at the end, right? So if you do the correct qualifying process, you will minimize these type of things. You will never eliminate it completely. There will still be some people who will say, I still need to think about this. I will give you a technique for let me think about it, which I will do after the break. There was one more question. Or some, what's your question? Okay, so when you say majority of the investments are money laundering, where exactly did you get that from?
After the Russian-Ukrainian war, a lot of investors came to pump cash, especially cash transactions.
Okay, are we talking the Russians and the Ukrainians? Overall. Okay, that's my whole point. When you say a lot of people came and started putting money here, where did you get that from?
I've seen a lot of cash transactions.
See what he's doing. Okay, correct. I've seen a lot of cash transactions. I would simply turn around and say, is our cash transactions ruling the market today? Yes. Are they doing it today because of the war in Russia and Ukraine? No. For the last 6 months, the Russians have put their units in the secondary market for sale. Look at Blue Waters. The number of units. So the Russians who put the money in 2022 because no one knew what would happen there are pulling it out now. So there is no more Russian influence, Ukraine influence, but is cash still ruling the market? Yes. So how do you explain that? People will make this statement, but it'll be a blanket sweeping statement. Did you know that 18% of the transactions in 2022 were the Russians? They were number one. But 82% was from the others. Did you know now Russia has gone down to number 5? They are not driving the market anymore. It's cash transactions. And did you know the reason why cash transactions are high? Because the market is in demand, because the city has moved to number 1. They're giving you the opportunity for golden visas. You can now have the lifestyle which you cannot get anywhere on the planet. That is why more and more people are coming. 2.5 million people who are coming to the UAE are not coming because of the Russia war. So when they are coming, they need homes. They need to rent. Okay, so ease of doing business. We are now the best city in the Middle East and we are number 3 on the planet. So this is the reason why 2.5 million people are coming here. That increases demand. And that's the reason why the developers are launching. The KYC has now been mandated by all developers, and brokers also should be doing it, which means there is a back check on people who are investing. So if a client tells you that many of those or most of the transactions are black money, simply challenge it. Where did you get that from? The fact is, it is not.
When clients say, I have already properties, I'm getting good return, I'm happy. I don't think I have 25 units.
Okay.
Thank you for your efforts.
Okay.
Something like this.
You'll hear this a lot, right? I have 25 units in Dubai already. Firstly, the guy might have 3 units. We don't know. It could be just an excuse to bump you off, okay? So I have 25 units in Dubai. I'm very happy. I'm making good returns. I have 2-3 ways of dealing with this. First is an instant reverse. That's exactly why I'm having this conversation with you. What do you mean? I only work with investors who have a minimum portfolio of 10 units or above in the market. These are people who understand the market and how they make their money. Those are the people I bring my opportunities to. That's exactly why I'm talking to you. That is an instant reverse. Okay. The second way you can use it is, I understand. Many of the clients I'm working with today are multiple investors. In a market like Dubai, everybody is picking up property, not just 1, 2, 5, 10. But they are always looking for additional opportunities because the market is constantly evolving to give higher returns. And from my experience, when investors who have invested in earlier markets to make an 8 or 10% a year, they are never going to pass on an opportunity which is giving them 17% a year. That's why I'm talking to you. Okay? Last one, we're going for a break. I need it. Yes.
He moved from, he was planning to buy in UK. The second objection now it's not Dubai is too hot. I said yes, but Jason, as I remember, you said that you're looking to invest. So it's not about your preference about the weather. And how many times are you planning to come to Dubai? He said between 10 to 12 times. So he's looking for holiday home. I said great. So in this 10 to 12 times, you are already staying in the hotel. You're paying in the hotel. You're still in this weather.
Okay, so the first thing is, this is an investor who said first the prices are too high. And he's planning to buy somewhere else, in the UK, wherever it is. When you handle the objection, what does this person do? They shift to another objection. That's a good sign. It means he can no longer hold on to his original objection because it's not sounding strong anymore. So it's a good sign. Then he moves to the second one. So whenever a client moves to the second one, the first thing I will do is, because now he's giving excuses. That's clear. I go back to the structure. I would say, Jason, is that the only thing stopping you now from going ahead, or is there something else? I pull it all out once so he cannot jump to a third one. All right. Then only I'll attempt to handle it. That's why you should know the numbers. Turn around and tell him, did you know that the number one buying nationality last year was the UK? So, did you know that all those people like you who are used to the European weather are now the number one investors in Dubai? Did you also know that last year, the maximum number of millionaires who migrated to Dubai, it was in the papers, right, has come from UK to actually live here with those 7 months of weather? Did you know that? So you know your numbers, you can always come back on it. All right? 10-minute break, guys, and we come back. Okay. There's one question that came up in the break, okay, which is about payment plans. All right? So let's talk about payment plans and understand how payment plans are actually affecting investment opportunities. Okay? Guys, at the back. Guys. Okay. Now, payment plan is coming up now as a lot of objections. So I had someone ask me also. You have to understand, in an investor-driven market, payment plans are important because people want to understand their rate of returns, especially if they are planning short-term exits, 24 months, things like that. Okay. Now, how do you explain a payment plan? Why does a developer select a payment plan which might be a 20% down payment, 10% every 6 months, or why they take a 10% down payment and 1% every month? There are different plans. Okay. The first thing that we need to understand is, the stronger the plan, okay, you need to understand this first. The stronger the plan, it means the more attractive the property. That means the developer believes that the property is good enough for people to be willing to put that money. That's the first thing you understand. A strong payment plan means the property is a very good property. Secondly, the completion of the property, the quality that has been promised to you, the timeline is directly impacted by the strength of the payment plan. Why? As a developer, I would put 20% of the project value before. Last year, they increased it to 30% of property value. So when I put the 30% in there, I, as a developer, also am interested in seeing a quick contribution from the buyer. Secondly, the payments that have to be made for any expense regarding that project, even a road show, a launch in a hotel, marketing campaigns, paying to the MEP, the subcontractors, mechanical, engineering, plumbing, piling, foundation, landscaping, interiors, every payment regarding that project must be paid from that escrow account. So if I have a weak payment plan, that means the possibility of the escrow being liquid, having cash, will go down. Now, I have contractors with whom I've agreed payouts at 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. So for me to do that, money has to be there in the escrow. So if the payment plan is a soft plan where I'm getting small amounts over a longer period of time, that means as a developer, I have to commit a heavy amount in the beginning, so I will not have a problem later if I'm not able to sell. If I'm not able to sell, from the people who have bought, very small amounts are coming into the escrow. My escrow is always going to be shaky. So what will happen? Developers will either delay, they will try and do some road shows, promotions, sell more units, because they know 3 months from now, 6 months from now, we have to pay. Otherwise, those contractors will stop working. So they will try and push the sale so that they are sure that for the next months and years, money is coming into the escrow. Otherwise, it will hurt the project after some time. So a stronger payment plan is doing two things: ensuring larger volumes of money come into the escrow, as well as you are pre-qualifying the financial ability of the people who are buying into your unit. Putting a 5% down payment and putting a 20% down payment is a very different type of person who's coming into your project. So you turn it around and tell the client, if a client says the payment plan is aggressive, you say that's exactly why you should be investing with this developer. What do you mean? Tell the client, did you know that the actual completion of your project as well as the quality of the finish is directly linked to the health of the escrow account? The account is healthy when it has got large amounts of money in it. That can only come from the initial investment of the developer and then from the sale of the units and the installments after that. So, and why did escrow or through RERA, why did they insist that payments can only be made from the escrow account towards one project? Because they wanted to make sure that when a developer is launching a project, they will focus on a good design, functionality, and quality. Because if they don't do that, they will not be able to sell the project. Their escrows will always shake. So it is to have a quality control on the developer. Or if the developer wants to launch it, but he knows he's not in such a great area, he does not have such a unique legacy or tower to give you, he will have to commit with a much larger initial down payment. Otherwise, that project is going to be stuck. Third problem that happens for the developer. Here, the problem is always for the developer. It is never for the client. Today, RERA has a black pointing system, very much like the driving licenses. Every developer is categorized into A, B, and C, depending on their completion timelines, quality of the finish, the DLP, the defect liability period, how many breakdowns happen in that 1 year after that. So all of this is looked at, and then you are graded A, B, and C. Now, when you are graded into these categories, tomorrow, if there is a new community announced, a master developer comes and announces a new area. If you're not in A and B, you are not allowed to buy plots there. So go into the desert. Because we don't want you to come in based on your track record and history, because this is a premium community. We cannot have people upset in this community because projects are on hold in this type of community. So you'll have to rectify your rating and complete your projects, or complete 60% of the pending projects. We will change you back to B or to an A. So it is not in the interest of the developer today to delay in the project. That is the reason why the developers will look for having a good payment plan. And for you, Mr. Investor, that is good for you. It actually is one way of ensuring that your property will complete. It also helps us regulate the quality of your neighbors, because you will get people like you who are financially liquid coming into that tower or into that community. That also is helped by a strong payment plan. Okay? If it is a weak payment plan, it is clear that I'm attracting you through the payment plan and not the property. They will still tell you it's a premium quality, the next level of luxury just showed up, and they'll give you all the pitches. If it is the next level of quality, and if the others are selling something like yours because you're saying you're like them, and if they're selling it on an aggressive plan and making money faster, why are you losing it? You already know the only way you can attract your buyer is through the payment plan. So you will take a cost and put in a lot more money first, or you will make more people buy. So you create the escrow through volume. But it's also an administrative headache for the developer. The people who want the 1% plans are the ones who default the payments the most. Because everybody thinks I can put 15,000 a month, 20,000 a month. These are the guys who are holding jobs, and they lose one job and they are done. And if you have, say, 600 units in your building, if you have towers which are giving 1%, right? Every month, I have to do 600 follow-ups to get 1% from every one of them. And I'm doing this every month for the next 7 years. It is a crazy administrative nightmare. And why would you do that if you believe you have an amazing tower? So, Mr. Investor, you need to understand when someone is attracted through the payment plan, it means the building or the community cannot attract on its own strength. So, the stronger the payment plan, actually, the more attractive the community and the more credibility to it finishing on time with the same quality. Okay? So, payment plans are good. Turn it around. That's exactly why you should buy with them. This plan secures you in the opportunity also by making sure only people like you who have this ability come into the project. So the project will continue. Okay? Right. Now let's go look at some objection handling techniques. First we'll look at some price handling techniques, but we will look also at some universal techniques. The universal techniques are techniques that you can use for any kind of objection. So I'm including it in the price objections because it can be used here. Okay, so the first one, where am I? Okay. Okay. Okay, the first one is called the feel, felt, found. Very simple technique. It's about 100 years old in sales, but nobody even realizes that you're using a technique. And it creates a very good feel in the client when you're giving the answers. But it is a universal technique. You can use it for anything. The second reason it is powerful is it works in a pattern of 3. The human mind relates to anything that comes in the pattern of 3. I'll give you the examples of that on the next slide, okay? But for now, let's just look at these 3. Here's what you do, okay? Client tells you the price is too high. So I'd simply turn around and say, Ahmed, I know how you feel. That's the neutralizer. I know how you feel. Some of my best clients initially felt the same. Here's what they found. And then you will come with your answer, okay? So I know how you feel, empathy. Some of my best clients initially felt the same. Validity, what you're feeling, hey, a lot of people felt like that. And then the justification, here's what they found. And then you'll come with your answer. So here's what they found. Across Dubai, communities that gave the same kind of offerings, similar returns, and the same kind of lifestyle, all were priced in this range. That's the reason they went ahead with it. How would you like to go ahead now? Just give whatever reason you want based on the objection, okay? Or someone turns around and tells you the correction is coming in the market. Ahmed, I know how you feel. Some of my best clients initially felt the same. Here's what they found. Based on all global projections and the current evidence on the ground, prices will actually go up for the next 4 to 5 years, which is why everybody wanted to pick up the opportunity now rather than paying 15% more in just 1 year's time. How'd you like to go ahead? All right. So give your answer using a feel, felt, found. Empathy, validity, what you're saying makes sense, and then justification. Any objection, all right? Okay. What I'll do is I'll screenshot this and send, because I know most of you sales guys don't like to write, and I've given you a few blank lines there, all right? I'll give you, or you can even take a screenshot as you're looking at it. Share it in your groups with everybody. Okay, so now, the second one, it should be 1, 2, 3 benefits. Okay, now here's where I want to explain to you this concept of pattern of 3. Ever since we were children, remember, in everything in selling, you have to have the psychology of what you're doing. Psychology brings the control and the influence. Pattern of 3 is in everything in our life. Go back to when you were a kid. All our nursery rhymes followed patterns of 3. Hickory, dickory, dock. Okay, we had Goldilocks and the 3 bears, 3 blind mice, okay, 3 little pigs. Everything was in patterns of 3. If you took part in sporting activities, it was ready, set, go. Pattern of 3. How many prizes did you get? First, second, third. Gold, silver, bronze. How were you taught language? Big, better, best. Oh, sorry, big, better, big, bigger, biggest. Small, smaller, smallest. This pattern of 3 is gone into our mind unconsciously, so that anything that is given in a pattern of 3 gets accepted. Go to Starbucks today. How many options do they give you? Pattern of 3, because 3 is in our minds. Okay. The second reason it works is you cannot resist something when it is given to you in a pattern of 3, and if you end with a question. So here's an example. This is not right. Okay. So let's say I give you one reason why you should go ahead with this opportunity. It is easy to attack the reason because there's only one thing you've given me. If you tell me the reason it is priced this way is because it has an amazing location, they will tell you the other one has also got an amazing location. Easy to attack. When you give 2 reasons, the mind will quickly compare which one looks less attractive, and that's the one they'll attack. Okay, because I have to only look at 2. Now, if I use 3, a pattern of 3, and I end with a question, the mind is now pulled into answering the question. That's the pressure on them. But in their head, they have to compare between 1 and 2, between 2 and 3, and between 1 and 3. It's just too much to do in a conversation. So what happens is 3 positives will fly through, and now there's a question in their head. The reason why people invest with us is because we give an amazing location, the highest long-term returns, and the best signature lifestyle. How would you like to go ahead with this? They cannot argue any of the 3. The 3 just goes into the head. So how do you create the 3? You are handling an objection. So you have already identified an opportunity. You have shown them with the USPs why that is a good opportunity. Now, bring the same thing into your answer. I qualified them, presented an opportunity, gave them 3 USPs, maybe more, and then I said, what do you like about this opportunity? And they'll tell you 1, 2, 3. Bring those into the answer. Ahmed, the reason why so many investors are with us in this community is because of 1, 2, and 3. Make sense? Sounds good? You can end with a question. Or, how would you like to go ahead on this? Just go that way. Okay? That's a pattern of 3. So I'm giving a generic example here, but you make it specific to the unit that you are presenting to them, or a community, okay, or the opportunity. So I'm simply saying here, Ahmed, we price based on value, neutralizer, right? We price based on value. Our clients buy from us because we offer any 3, whichever 3 you want to give. You can have a good, strong closing statement. When you buy from us, you don't just save on price, you earn in value. How would you like to go ahead with this? Always end it, but with a question. 1, 2, 3. Okay? When you present the product also, if you use pattern of 1, 2, 3 is very strong. Okay? Based on what you told me, Tilal Al-Gaf is the best option for you, because what you will get is 1, 2, and 3. What are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about that? Pattern of 3 works always. Okay? That's the technique that we are talking about here. Okay. Now, there is another technique. Oh, sorry, you take a picture. Share it in the group, yeah, with everybody. Okay. Now, there is another technique which uses 3 with an elimination pattern, where you will give them an option of 3, but they can choose only 2. So they'll have to leave out 1. So in this case, we're talking quality, performance, and price. So you will use 3 things here as an example. What you're going to say is, of these 3, you can have only 2. So which ones do you want to benefit from? Okay. Now, when you choose it, you have to always choose 2 positives and 1 negative. That is the secret here. Okay. Now, most of the time, because people have a concern with the price, in their head, they're seeing the negative as price. So you want to position that negative against 2 positives, which is quality of that opportunity and the performance of the opportunity. Okay. So here's how you could do it. Okay. Ahmed, I agree you should get value for your investment. I'm not saying I'm agreeing the price is high. I agree you should get value for the investment. then you will simply say, from our experience, of the three, the highest long-term returns, the best quality, and the cheapest price, you can only have two. Which ones would you like to benefit from? They will have to give up on the price. Because if the price is the cheapest, there is no way the quality can be the best. Agree? Okay? If the price is the cheapest, it means it is not going to be a high-performing asset because it's not in a premium location. There's not a lot of good features that you have access to. That is the reason why the price is cheap, because no one is buying. So if you want performance and if you want the quality, then the one that you will compromise on is price. Always going to be that way. The other thing that gives you confidence here is, remember, you qualified the client. This is objection handling. It's coming later. When I qualified the client, I found out what he wanted and how much he's looking to pay for that. And I've shown him a unit based on what he said in that price range. So it is affordable for him. He's just trying to possibly negotiate, or maybe he has not seen when you presented the unit that it actually makes sense for that money. So you will simply go into quality, performance, and pricing. Okay? Because the first two will be affected by the third. Okay? Take a picture if you want. Done? Okay, what do I have next? Okay, price versus cost. This works really well because you confuse your clients with this one. So, client has said the price is too high. Use any neutralizer. We've looked at so many neutralizers, right? So let me see, I don't know which one I have here. Okay, Ahmed, it's really important that you get a good return on your investment. See, no client will remain negative with such a statement. Maybe he said the price is too high. I'll say, Ahmed, it's really important you get a good return on your investment. So you will bring them to the neutral space. Okay, then after that, ask them the next question. Okay, if I may ask, what's really important? Is it the price or the cost? That's, you see, the same thing will happen with them. What do you mean? What's the difference? What's the difference between price and cost?
Price, the amount of money you pay now, the cost is something may happen in the future. It's linked to the,
Okay, anyone else?
Cost is how much you pay for the construction. Price is the cost plus the
marketing. Cost is, to what it leads,
Difference between price and cost.
The cost is maybe like what the benefits of
Yeah, like something like the consequence or something.
Right. Can you see what has happened to the room? Confusion, right? And we're trying to figure out what's really the difference. That's exactly what happens to the client. Whenever you get people slightly confused, you have the edge at that moment. So more likely what's going to happen is they'll say, what do you mean? That's what tends to happen, okay? So Ahmed, Ahmed, I agree. You should get good value for your investment. So if I may ask you, what's really important? Is it the price or the cost? 10 out of 10 clients are going to ask you, tell me more about that. Or, what do you mean? Or, I'm not sure I got that. They've given you the advantage. All right, that's when you will turn on and tell them, price is the one-time event. It's what you pay now for the opportunity. The cost is what you will pay for the next 8 to 10 years when you are in the opportunity. Okay, which one should we look for? Just the price now as an entry, or should we look at the price and what you will need to pay for the next 8 years in the opportunity? Which one is more important to look at? Always the cost. Okay, so what are things that can come? So basically, price is a one-time event. Cost will become your real price over the lifetime of the event. You want to buy something and you want it cheap. If you're going to get it cheap, it's going to be in a community that's not in the city. It's going to be way out there. It's not going to give you the best benefits for a lifestyle. So when you rent it out, you will not be able to get a very good return because people would prefer a community with convenience and benefits. So they won't get that, which means long term, your rental yield is not going to be good. Secondly, if a tenant moves out, the time that will be spent to find a new tenant is also longer. That is 0 revenue days. When you are in a premium community with a great lifestyle, it is easy to find another tenant when one moves out. So you have lesser downtime. Also, if the capital appreciation will not be that great on that opportunity, if you want to resell it, you will have to wait longer to find a buyer who will give you an attractive amount for it. Chances are in those kind of communities, even the facilities management and the services later will not be that great. It's a cheap community. So there is not much that's going to be put into those communities because the service charges would become too high for a property of that low value. So when you consider over the next 5, 8, 10 years that you're in the property, how much are you paying or how much are you losing as a result of that? It makes more sense to put an additional 100,000 or 150,000 now so that you can have a good return year on year. So what really is important to you? Is it the price or is it the cost? It will always have to be cost. And that's when you say that's exactly why most of the investors who felt that way discovered why this community made sense and they went ahead. How'd you like to go ahead with it? Okay? Price versus cost. Nice one to use. Okay? Next one. Obvious demand. Obvious demand is actually a very simple technique. You just throw it in the flow of your conversation. Essentially, what are you saying? Hey, the demand is obvious. So the way you do it is, for example, look at Dubai. Take Dubai. People will tell you property is expensive, right? In Dubai. I'll simply turn around and say, if what you're saying is true, why would hundreds of thousands of millionaires invest hundreds of billions every year in Dubai? The demand is obvious. If what you're saying is true and that is stopping you from buying, why are hundreds of thousands of millionaires putting hundreds of billions in this market? Why is Dubai selling so much property to so many people from so many nationalities if what you're saying is true? Essentially, what you're saying is the demand is obvious, right? So you need to justify that. You have a question?
Yes, you mentioned last session that Dubai have made out of the transaction of real estate a number more than something for like only on transaction of real estate, not as a fuel or something like this. I remember.
As a fuel?
Like I mean, versus like selling the petrol, something, for example, like not in Dubai, but in general, you said alone it was. It made only out of property some number, I'm trying to remember, which I lost at that, a part of like selling like petrol or something like this.
No, I don't think I would have said fuel. I never associate property with fuel because we don't have.
I know.
Maybe someone else stood here and you heard it, but it may have been good because you get other people to come and present. You can never link Dubai to oil or fuel. We don't have it. We don't have it. I do remember telling you Sheikh Mohammed announced last year, we did a 3.5 trillion dirhams non-oil revenue in Dubai.
That's the one.
Okay, but that's non-oil revenue. So, okay,
that's the one.
large amount from there would be from real estate.
Yes.
I did mention something else. Maybe I said it here last time. Statista.com. That's a site you can go to. Statista.com. Statista. Statista.com they put out a report in which they said the value of real estate in Dubai is 0.71 trillion. Of that, residential property is worth 0.41 trillion. With a projected increase over the next 5 years till 2028, it will go to 0.8 trillion. That's the amount of real estate that is being sold in Dubai today. Okay? For the? Yeah, or the 3 benefits, 1 to 3, yeah. Always.
And if one of them we wanna reduce the weight of the how the best technique to reduce the importance of even for the client to make it like for
Okay. Is this person looking as an investor or as a homeowner?
it might be both. Maybe he wants fast income, maybe he wants something, maybe he believes some of them say even for investment.
I get it. A lot of people, see, when people say, I want to buy what I can see, I would simply agree with him. I said, of course, you're spending 3.5 million. Of course, you want reassurance to know it's going to work for you. Agree with that statement. So nobody walks away when you say, of course, it's 3.5 million we're talking about. You need to have the assurance. But let me ask you this. Are you buying because you can see it, or are you buying to get a good return? What's the reason you're really buying? To make a good return. They have to tell you. I say, excellent. Why don't we now look over the next 3 years, 4 years, or say over the next 2 years, how much will you make if you buy a ready unit now? And how much would you make if it was an off plan? Simply do it. So let's say we are talking, take any community, okay, Dubai Hills Estate. How much would you make on rentals every year in Dubai Hills Estate? It will be only between 8 and 9%, okay? That's 8 and 9%. So let's say you're putting 3 million into an investment, a ready home investment, you will make around 240,000. You'll make 8% this year, but you'll be paying 100% upfront. So within the next year, you will make another 8%, okay? So by the time you take out your service charges in both the cases, you'll make around 7%. So you'll make 14%. So if you have to pay 100% and make 14% in 2 years, how much would you make if you bought something where in 24 months you are able to sell it in the market? What will be your return? Okay, right now, what is the appreciation in the market? Last year we closed at 17.6%, right? That's the Knight Frank report. Take 12%. I make 12% on the total property value. That 12%, let's say I make 12% in the next year. This year we are expected to do 15% according to Knight Frank. So even if I do 12% on 3 million, I'm going to be making around 360,000 in the first year. I will make in the second year around the same, little more because it's cumulative. I make around 750,000 in the 2 years. But how much would I have paid by then? So my return on my equity is higher than my returns through a rental yield. So you need to sit with the client and then come down to dollar. Shift it away from off plan to ready and say, for every dollar that you invest in a ready home, this is the percentage of return you will make. But for every dollar that you will put in the off plan right now, this is how much you will make. Now, as an investor, what's important to you? The return on every dollar you invest, or whether it's a ready unit or an off plan? Which one matters? Yes, the return, always. Now, if it's a homeowner, his reason to buy is different, correct? He's looking for an experience ROI. So when it's that kind of person, you obviously will have to lean more towards showing him why the off plan is going to actually justify maybe for an additional year or two that he continues to rent but invest here. So what you'll need to show him is he'll pay 100% now and move into a ready unit. So he will save on his rents for 2 years. Now, if he's taking it in an off plan, maybe it is halfway completed. You look at how much he will pay. He will still get a post handover payment plan, but with the appreciation he will make in the first 2 years, cancel from that his current rent, and he will still make a marginal return. So which one works best for you as an investor? Sorry? Okay, you didn't understand. In a ready unit, I pay 100% upfront. I save my rent for the next 2 years. Okay, if I'm taking a unit which is off plan, or maybe 30% constructed, 40% constructed, I will still have to rent for maybe another 2 years. So that is going to be an additional cost for me, but I'm paying only about 30% or 40% at this point. So what is my capital appreciation? What will I earn for those 2 years? I can offset my rent because I'm going to get a higher appreciation if I want to sell it, or I hold it at a cheaper entry point. 2 years later, I'll move into my home. So you will get a better return on that. But you have to remember, when a person is looking to move into something as a home, there is always going to be an experience ROI that they are looking for. They're not thinking from an investor mindset. So maybe what you could do is tell them, let's go to a developer. You can still get a 2-year plan, or in some cases even 3 years as a post handover plan, which you would not get if you had to go to a individual buyer in the market, because he's looking to stay in it. Those are not really your investors.
Doctor, so I would love to know your insight about the luxury field. All the luxury developers, they say that my property during the construction, 100% increase, 200% increase, based on exactly the property final price. But when we look into the transaction,
No, it is not. There is no 200% increase, nothing like that. Only a few. This, I know where this is coming from. There was an article that came out a few days ago in the papers, and it was a very misleading article, because the article said in the headline that property prices appreciate by up to 200%, causing a lot of buyers to start selling homes. It was a very misleading. You see, headlines are written to attract attention to the article. If you read the article, it came in Arabian Business. If you read later, it says in some places, prices have appreciated between 50 to 200%. But they didn't say that in the headline, that in some places appreciates between this. They just said property prices see 200% increase. So a lot of clients, they may not even have property there. They read the article, they will use that when they come and talk to you. But there is nothing like that existing in reality.
the period that say when they want to sell, they take very long time to sell the unit. So how we handle this objection?
Okay, so you're saying, what do you mean? You're saying when they put the unit out that they were, see, now you're going into secondary.
Because if, for example, we need to give him the vision. Let's say the client wants to buy something luxury. So they are looking for also sell maybe after 2 years, because we don't know.
Okay.
So how we
Okay, I'll answer this question, but I want to ask everyone else. Do you all also get this question? Because I know you all are mostly off plan, right?
I honestly did not hear what Lily was saying.
for example, we go to the training of NIA. So all the sales there, they will say that how much they have to their clients to get capital appreciation now in the market. Whoever they bought before 1 month, whoever they bought before in the purchase between
Yeah.
So, but when we check the exact numbers in the it takes more than 6 months, 1 year, maybe 15 months to sell 1 unit. How we handle this objection? Let's say this is reality.
Very easy to answer. I wanted to know if this is of value to everybody. That's why I asked. Do you all face this, where a client who's buying turns around and tells you, but it is not easy to resell. Sometimes it's taking 6 months, more than that, to sell in the market. So how do I know I'll be able to have a quick exit? Do you face these, any of you? True. Okay. Firstly, that is not true. That is not true. I know the numbers in the market, and you're right when you say there is a ready 3-bedroom available in Dubai Marina at 3.7 or 4.7, and now the new launch is asking for 5.5. That is happening. That is true. The first mistake we are making here is you need to realize when that ready home is available to you today at 4.7, it is actually a home that had launched at 3.1. So you are actually paying a lot more money for that home, and it is probably going to be a 5 to 7 or 8-year-old property. What you need to understand as an investor is I am buying a property where I'm paying a lot more, so I'm always at a disadvantage compared to those who bought early in that building. They will always make a higher returns on rental, and if I want to sell tomorrow, those buyers have an edge over me. They can always come in 100,000 less than me and get a buyer to come, but they still make more than me because they paid 3.1, I paid 4.7. So I will always be operating at a disadvantage in that tower against any of the early buyers who put the unit out. That's the first thing. Second thing is the 5.5 that you're buying now, you're not even putting 5.5 now. They're putting only at 20% now. And over the next 3, 4, 5 years, you'll put the rest. But it is appreciating every single year. When this home is ready, it is going to be 8 million. So you have to look when this property will become ready, what is going to be its worth. You cannot look at a property that was launched 5 years ago, 7 years ago and say that was more attractive because it is now at this point. The truth is you're paying more for that. Okay, if no, actually even that's not true. If you are willing to sell within 24 months, it will still be attractive. They will continue with the payment plan later, but they will make a higher return. They will, why do you think all these people are buying and flipping now? Flipping is happening? Yes, no. So how come? Are they flipping ready properties or off-plan properties? So how come they are able to do it in the market? Yeah, so there's both, right? So, but you'll make a higher return when you flip the off-plan because you have only paid X amount. This is the reason why a building is launching and selling out in 3 hours. Okay, I got what you're saying. So you're saying 2 years ago that property launched. Okay, do you know how much prices have gone up in the last 2 years? You cannot go back to 2 years ago. Mr. Investor, you should have bought 2 years ago. There is no point in comparing to a market that does not exist anymore. Yes. That is an impossible scenario. It is an impossible scenario.
Give us an example.
Okay.
Like for example, let's say Arabella, 1 and 2 and 3 and Model 1 and Model 2 and Model 3.
That's not the example. Give us tangible. You're talking about model something.
Yeah, because
Give us a tangible example of what you're saying.
For example, Model is the same community we are talking about. Same community. Model is the same.
Mudon. Okay, Mudon, Dubai properties, yeah.
Appreciation much more handed over the property to the resident. It's like I convinced the investor to buy the property, and within, like, let's say 6 or 8 months, we can do 15%. But this during 15%, the client will
pay, like, let's say 30% down payment, but I need to have 15% again. The premium became how much?
30%.
55%. Down payment for the
Down payment is 30. How much more? How much? At what point can you resell?
30%.
Yeah.
30%.
So you're reselling at 30%.
25%.
So you have to pay 55% to resell. Is that what you're saying?
No, I have to pay 25% to resell.
Okay,
No,
you.
that's not true. No, we're not saying 25, 30%.
Okay, let's take the higher amount, 30%. Okay.
Let's assume it's 30. Let's assume it's 30. Fine. 30%. I have to get again 10% premium to the investment. So it's 40%. And 40%, if you compare it between the last launch, which is actually our three, is actually the prices won't significantly higher than this project.
Give us the price. Give us the one which launched 2 years ago and one that's launched now. This is the earlier launch.
Yes.
Okay, 2.9. Fine.
This is when it was off plan. Off plan. This is off plan price. I'm just confirming.
Okay.
10% appreciation within 8 months. How much can I be?
Okay, he'll make 290,000 on this. So you're going to 3.2 or 3.3. Okay, so.
4% deal, 2%
Sorry, what?
4% deal, 2%.
Okay, the 4% is going to be there for the others. Let's look at the price of the unit. Let's look at the appreciation on the unit. So the new launch is at how much? This is the latest. So which is the early one, 2 years ago? How much?
This is the latest. Now, what are you comparing this to? Okay. How much was it sold? 2 million. How much it was sold at the beginning? 1.2, 1.3 million. Today in the market, what is its price?
2.5 to 2.1.
No problem. Yeah.
The tangible example. So that
Okay. So, no, it's fine. It's a good question. No problem. So, what we're saying now is I can go to this guy and how much I have to pay? 2.1? So, I have to pay 2.1 and I get a ready project. So, for me now on this project, this is after 2 years, right? In 1 year, what will be the appreciation for him on this project? 10%. So, he will go to 2.31 or something like that. Okay. If I buy the new launch today, which is at 2.9 is the value, I will be paying how much? 24%. Okay, that's we're taking the 4%. I left out 4% there. We'll leave out 4% now. You're paying how much? 20%? 30%? 20%? Okay, let's say 30%. I'm paying 30% of this. I'm paying 900K. Now, I'll pay 900K and in 1 year's time, I will make the same 10% appreciation in the market. What do you mean, how come? There's an appreciation in the market everywhere. No, forget the quality. Let's just stay on the numbers. You told me there was a launch at 1.3 and now it is selling at 2.1. So the benefit is going to the first buyer, not to you now. Okay. Now you put 2.1 million. In 1 year, you'll make 200,000 more. So you're going to make 200,000 roughly on this. I buy now a unit which is priced at 2.9 today, but I've paid in 1 year 900. But that unit is also going to appreciate 10% in the market. But it will appreciate 10% on the property value. Well, let's finish this first. Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting now a 290,000 in the same 1 year. You are now paying 2.1 and in 1 year you get this. I am paying 20% now. By 1 year I've paid 30%. So I'm paying 900K. You will make 200K in 1 year on your 2.1 million that you paid because you're seeing the unit is cheaper. I will make in 1 year 290,000 on 900K which I have paid. Who makes more? And I will sell this later. So if you're an investor, you don't look at the entry point of the unit price. An investor always looks whether I take ready or whether I take off plan. For every dirham I put in the secondary, every dirham I put in the off plan, every year, which one is going to give me higher return? That's all I care about as an investor. I don't plan to live in it. So which is why you tell them take 2 years. No, you can't flip now off plan. You have to hold 24 months at least. You will get. Okay, look at the market performance. That's the best indicator. Which is selling more today, off plan or secondary? Who told you that? Off plan is selling more. 59. The secondary, yeah. So again, that's because you're not comparing the two same things. That's wrong, the way of looking at it. If I'm an investor, I have two choices today. I can buy secondary or I can buy off plan. These are my two choices in the market. Okay, there's no third option. It's one of these two. What should I look at? If I put my money now, it doesn't matter price. It is for every dirham that I put in secondary, how much I will make. And for every dirham I put in off plan, how much I will make. That is how a real investor thinks. He thinks in terms of returns, not in terms of price. It is not going, yes, it is going up for everything in Dubai. Exactly.
There's also an appreciation for the off plan. Why it is off plan?
Yeah, correct.
Right? So if there is a 10% appreciation in the red unit, there is a 10% appreciation for the off plan. The only difference is I'm bad with math. I make it very simple. With the red unit, I'm going to pay the full money. And I'll get the 10% appreciation. With the off plan unit, I'm going to pay 20% to 30%. And I'm going to still get 10% appreciation. It's the same time.
It is the same.
You have, okay, this is the part that you're missing. When there is a 10% appreciation on real estate, it means it involves everything. So, where are you making more money? مش بالريدي, because the ready you paid the 3 million in Egypt, انت only paid 900,000 only, for example, and you're making a 10% appreciation. By the end of the project, you will never have a similar situation. Why? Because this guy bought off plan 2 or 3 years ago and ended up doing all this appreciation and got the price of 3.3. you will late. I'm sorry. And this is what we always say. When you go to people, they're late. If they're buying now, they are late.
Actually, from the developer, they have to increase the price. They will not with the market, secondary market, they will not increase the price.
Of course.
That also from the developer, they have to increase the price to save their investor.
In more than one unit, 100%, 100%. Are we gonna answer Lily's question?
I will answer. Lily's question was, I think, when the unit goes out. Okay, Lily's question is having a little bit of secondary influence on it, all right? Which is the buyers are saying, what is the sense in me investing now if later on it is taking me 6 months, 1 year to sell my unit? Now, for that, what we need to understand is how do units sell at the second phase of buying? Second phase is your secondary buying, yeah? The next person. There are a few things that are important. Some of the people who have bought a unit, when they put it out as a listing in the market, they are not going to be listing it based on the market value. A lot of times when a seller wants to list a unit, he will list it on emotional value, not on asset value. The market pays only for asset value, not for emotional value. All right. So when I put a unit out there, there is something called an opportunity window. So when you talk to a client, you should ask your client, how familiar are you with opportunity windows for the second sale of a home? I guarantee they don't know what it means. Okay. The opportunity window is every community in Dubai has got an ideal time frame within which a listed unit will sell. So if you look at a Palm Jumeirah, the opportunity window is between 7 days to 21 days. End of first week to end of third week, because it's a high demand area with a lot of people wanting a unit. So the opportunity window, the best time your unit will sell when you list it, assuming the prices are accurate or in line with the market, is within those 2 weeks. If you go to a desert community, Damak Hills and Arabian ranches, the opportunity window is from week 3 to week 8. Because different communities based on demand will have a different opportunity window. So what is important is you have to tell investors before you decide to list a unit for the next sale, you must make sure that you can optimize your opportunity window. And the way to do that is with the correct pricing at that point in time. So it must be first asset value, not the emotional value, what you think you want to get. That's the first thing. The second thing, how will you sell this? By listing it on a portal. Agreed? When I list on a portal, the portals work on algorithms, right? There is a range of price. The next buyer who's coming up is usually working with a buyer agent. The buyer agents have an understanding in each area which type of unit should.
So how do you now handle with cases like, for example, a big project in the map are operating in small percents in the auction with very high net projects like Sapphire, for example. So how do you then, the client has this?
Okay, good question. So you have to look firstly in the market. You will find most of the 1% payment plans would come from the Danubes, and they will come from Town Square with a new launch, and a lot of the projects in the JVC, JVT, Arjan, Dubai Land, Furjan, those areas. That reason for that is we have a new type of buyer that has showed up in the market, the first-time home buyer. The first-time home buyers are people who are looking for something where they are seeing if they can get a mortgage. You can't get a mortgage in an off-plan. They don't have that kind of money to come and keep investing. So, and they can't pay the 20% and then the 10%, they can't do that. So what developers are doing now is to attract those people who are ready to put for off-plan. See, these are people who had the money in the bank, they just never felt the need to buy. I was just still comfortable renting. I didn't want to lock myself into something. Many of them have shown up now. So for them, since they cannot pay big amounts upfront, the developers are attracting some of them by saying just 1% a month. And we are ready to wait for 7 years to get the full money from us. So they are attracting those type of buyers. One. The second is there are people who are ready to go for a home because many of these properties are now They're ready to pay 1% for 2 years, 3 years, and then 5-year post-handover plan. Look at Aqua, 7 years post-handover plan. Why? Because Aqua knows when this guy who's on a 25,000 dirham salary who wants to own a property, if he goes to a bank, there's a very high probability his mortgage will be rejected because he already has got personal loans. He will have credit cards. So he will already have a lot of payouts. And the cap that has been set by central bank is 60%. You cannot take more than 60% from a person's monthly salary towards payment of loans and cards, etc. So if they already have some commitments there, the margin to recover for my monthly installments is very less. So there is no way I can approve an 80% on a project because he will not be able to meet the requirement for monthly installments. So either I will approve only a 40% or a 25%, in which case the guy still has to pay upfront 65-70%. He doesn't have the ability. So the chances are many of these people will hear no in the bank after going through the whole process. So the developers are attracting them by saying, come to us. If you can just arrange that 10% or 15% now, we will charge a little markup and we'll give you 7 years. It's like a mortgage. No headaches and going through all of the things with the bank and no rejection. Come and buy from us and you'll get 7 years. It's like a mini mortgage that you get. That is why this plan came up. This is to attract those new first-time buyers who have shown up last year. 43% of the transactions last year were first-time buyers. 43% in 1 year, that is 1 out of every 2 people is a new buyer. It tells you that there's a whole shift happening in the market. That's the reason it comes.
What about the buyer who already has a lot of cash?
Okay.
To convince him buying a plan, will tell you, okay, I put the 10%, but what about the 90% that they already have? I don't want to keep it in the bank.
Okay, in which case you have a choice. Don't put it in multiple projects. Because if you're planning to exit from the thing within, say, 2 years' time, you can put it in multiple projects.
What if he doesn't have the cash flow to cover, let's say, to put the code of plans? We will need more cash flow later on to cover all the bases.
See, that is his challenge, okay? He needs to be able to figure out where he's going to get the money from. You have an opportunity in the market. You have to check your own safety by making sure you have the ability to pay later. So you put a buffer. Okay, if your plan is to exit in 24 months, make sure you got money for at least 30 months. Cover your 30 months, but start putting it into the market by the time you're into 20 months or 21 months. You've got time, so you're not under pressure to sell. And remember, more and more people are coming into the market. If you just look at the natural trend here, we are short of homes. We are not in a position today in the market where you cannot sell the home. If you're not selling the home, it's not because there is no demand. It's because you're not pricing it correct and you're asking for a return that is not reasonable. So people are going to the other options. Reselling a home today should be no issue in the market because there's a shortage of homes for everyone. We'll wrap it up here. All right, we'll wrap it up here today. Okay. And I'll be in touch with you guys. Anything, drop me a note, something. Yeah? All right. Okay. See you guys.